How's everyone doing?
All right, all right, all right.
All right.
All
Good.
right,
All
all right,
right.
all right. That's
Bitcoin
good.
23K.
All right, all right, all
All
right.
right. So
All
this
right, all
is
right, all
being
right.
streamed to pretty much all the channels. So we have audiences coming in from everywhere. So I think pretty much just
Everywhere.
kind of kick things off maybe by doing quick intros, since we kind of have different audiences. How about BitBoy? How about doing a quick intro?
Hi, my name is Ben. I run BitBoy Crypto. Welcome to this live stream. Glad to have you. If you guys don't know my channel, then I don't know what the heck you're doing. You should know about it. Come subscribe. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Let's get a crypto love.
All right, what's up? My name is Randall from Crypto Love. I've been YouTubing since August of 2017. Just broke 100,000 subscribers, thank God. And yeah, that's all.
Wait, 100,000?
100,000, right?
Oh man, that's a llama right there. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm finally in the big boy crew.
Yeah. And Coach K.
Hey guys, I'm Coach K. I've been, around crypto for a few years, I guess now, and you may see me on a couple other channels with Crypto Ran and with these boys, and yeah, I'm CMO of AnarchX. Just came out, which is an interesting project with gaming, and yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of projects. One that BitBoy just joined apparently called Ferrum Network.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Hey,
I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me again.
hey, thank you so much for making it. We know the time is not the best time for you.
It's 6 a.m.,
uh,
so it's kind of early.
yeah,
It's good. It
yeah,
gets my day started early.
but all right, all right. Bill.
Hi, I'm Bill. I'm the technical analyst for Tokenmetrics. I help our customers with all things charts.
All right, and I'm Ian Bellina, founder and CEO of Tokenmetrics, also known as Diary of a Made Man. All right, all right. So let's start the show. What do you guys think about Bitcoin right now? Do you think this is the top, or are we just getting started?
I think we're just getting started. Like, I don't think people really realize the exponential function and the halving of Bitcoin and what that's going to do now that every institution is buying up 0.1% of all the Bitcoin out there. So we have 1,000 institutions that buy Bitcoin. There's all the Bitcoin gone. So I think it's really I don't think we're even seeing the beginning of what's happening from these institutions. We're just seeing kind of the retail FOMO effects of seeing the institutions buy, and it's probably not for a few years where we're really going to see the price take off because of this.
Yeah, I think, when you look at the numbers, like I love to talk about this number, and this number a lot of people don't know or talk about, which
69?
is 69. That's 34 plus 35. Thank you, Ariana Grande. So the thing is here is that 210%. That's how much Bitcoin that Grayscale, PayPal, Square, and one other company. I don't think
Cash App?
What's that?
Cash App?
Yeah, well, that's Square.
Yeah.
The PayPal, Square, I believe it's MicroStrategy and Grayscale. Between those four companies, they're buying 210% of all Bitcoin being mined daily. Now, obviously, that doesn't make any sense because while you would think you could give 110% effort in a game, you can't actually do that. Math doesn't allow 210%. So what that means is, out of all of the Bitcoin that's being mined every day, 900 per day, they're buying 1,980 of them, meaning they're buying up the total supply that's being created daily, plus they're dipping back into the circulating supply. And that's just four companies, my voice is a little sore. I've been yelling at the Falcons all day, but, that's more than is being made. And that math just equates to eventually there's not going to be any left. And the retail investors are might possibly be left behind. So I think that really tells a story. And I know a lot of people who are investing, family members that have heard me talk about Bitcoin forever, like they're finally getting on board, and they're getting on board because they see the money printing. They see it. People see it now. They understand it makes sense to them. It's not just all FOMO, but all these people are having the same thought, which is, oh God, should I get out any moment? Like it's pumping, like they're making a lot of money. Like they make $20,000. I think it's like a ton of money. And they're like, do I want to get out yet? And I'm with Randall. I mean, this This is just the beginning of the beginning.
Dude, plus Coinbase is taking Bitcoin from Coinbase Pro to Coinbase Custody to sell it to these people, like MicroStrategies and One River Group and the other one. They took all the Bitcoin from Coinbase Pro, where traders and people like us have access to it, and they're selling it to the institution. So there's going to be a time when there's no more available for us.
Well, they got rid of their margin trading over there, and I bet that might have something to do with why.
What do you think, Bill?
I think if Bitcoin takes out 26K, that it's going to go to 40, right? Or 46K. I had to do this for CoinDesk where, I tracked using something called Fibonacci extension. Basically, it just tries to track what a parabolic move, market move does when it takes out all-time highs. I was kind of more in the camp of like a 24 to 26 range. But if they take out 26, and if our esteemed guests are correct, and it's just a stampede.
What would stop it at 26 aside from the fib extension?
Well, that's it. That's it. Just chart.
Yeah.
There's nothing but chart points. But if
mythical lines, I love it.
The mythical lines, right? But the mythical lines don't mean anything. Just like in 2017. Right. When it took out the equivalent level in 2017, it just did a 1x. So, the same thing can happen. The only twist I put on it is I just saw a graph where they would measure the market cap of alts like 4 through 10 on the market cap chart. I think if Big Boy goes to 40K, that there are going to be a lot of other coins like, your Dashes, your Litecoins, your Bitcoin
Absolutely.
Cashes and whatnot. I mean,
Now,
Bill,
if that happens, what happens to Bitcoin dominance? Do you expect the market to catch up in terms of alts, or do you expect alts to bleed?
I think the big alts are going to go along with Bitcoin, right? So, that includes, so I break it up this way, like the future of money, okay? As BitBoy said, they see the money printing now. So future of money is big alts, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, XRP, Dash, etc., right? ETH. And then I think the small alts, you're just going to buy them on dips, and we're going to have what are called DeFi days. You have snow days. Okay, you're off from school. So we'll have DeFi days where we're off from Bitcoin. Okay, regardless of whether it's a 26K price or a 46K price. And then on those DeFi days, then you're going to have, monstrous rallies in things like Synthetics, Aave, Yearn, Uni, DeFi blue chips, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I go through the PowerPoint, but, the dollar's going lower and commodities are going up, and we've got the most valuable commodity of all, crypto.
Absolutely. Coach K, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm watching to see how it reacts when it gets to this 24, 25K level. I did short it just like yesterday when it kind of topped out.
You son of a...
Yeah, I know. I'm a trader, man. I look for those short-term moves too. I'm always going to be a long-term Bitcoin bull, but took a quick short, made some profit. Today I saw it again. I was like, nah, I'll just leave it, and I didn't short it again, but I should have again. I think we're gonna have what we had before when we were trying to get a crack 20K, where it's gonna reject it a few more times, and then we could break it out. But also, I'm like with the looming, second wave COVID and not having all the vaccines and Christmas holidays and Chinese New Year, we kind of have to be prepared for, a dip, maybe not like a crazy one that maybe I was expecting to happen, but something to, kind of reset us, which would be very, very healthy for the market to go back to 20K. And then we could spring and go even higher. So I'm looking at both those things. But in terms of like this move, is Bitcoin done its bull run? Absolutely not. I think we're definitely going to go a lot higher. I just think that's going to happen in the new year.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to say one thing. I don't think that a lot of altcoins are going to follow Bitcoin and possibly Ethereum, because I've been listening to a lot of this like macro strategy stuff. Like I listened to this podcast with Pomp and Raoul Paul, and also Rich Dad Kiyosaki, and all these big macro traders are like balls deep in Bitcoin, but and some of them are invested a little bit in ETH, but they don't see alts as anything other than a trading opportunity. Like they're not seeing that as an investment. And because of the limited supply of Bitcoin and because of potentially the deflationary limited supply of Ethereum after 2.0, that will go up because of supply and demand. Whereas altcoins, there's like 8,000 altcoins now. I think 2 months ago there were 5,000. It's just like there's no limit to the supply of them. So I don't think that a lot of them are going to go up. Even some of the big ones, I'm not too bullish on.
Yeah, I would totally
I'm
disagree
bullish
with
on
that.
altcoins.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on
in.
altcoins.
All in.
Yeah, I think when you look back at what happened last time, I mean, I always like to say it's like a fondue fountain. You know, I mean, you got your fondue coming out the top, which is Bitcoin, and then it goes to the second level, which is Ethereum. Then it just goes down from there. And, you know, you're talking about some of these investors that are they're very like targeted and short-sighted on what they're seeing. I think they're looking at the plus sides of all of the bigger coins, or of Bitcoin and Ethereum, the two biggest coins. People are starting to look at Ethereum the same way people were looking at Bitcoin in 2017. You got a lot of people want to be kind of first movers, and, you know, they just announced, you know, CME just announced their futures contracts for Ethereum and things like that. But your retail investors, because you have to remember, the altcoin markets don't need as much as Bitcoin needs to move. So your retail investors are always going to be looking at the smaller coins. Like I don't know anyone who gets into crypto and knows about anything outside of Bitcoin is like, you know what, I want to put all my money in Bitcoin. They don't want to do that. They don't understand the tokenomics and the supplies.
Only 7% of Bitcoin is on exchanges, and that's the only part of Bitcoin that affects the price. So that's a $38 billion market cap. That's not that much.
Fair enough.
Compared with a lot of altcoins out there.
Yeah, it still takes a lot to move the Bitcoin, though. It takes a lot to move the Bitcoin. Okay. But I think the altcoins, I think that Bill was right on. I think he's dead on with the top coins. That's why, like, I've really shifted a lot of my strategies recently. I'm looking at, you know, but my top coins, probably do a video on this soon, but it's, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Chainlink, Polkadot, maybe Tezos, you know, those are ones I'm looking at. And CRO is another one I think is going to have a little renaissance here. But, you know, outside of that, when you're looking at the smaller coins, when you're looking at your micro caps and things like that, I mean, it really is like just playing roulette right now. You're trying to find the ones that can really get up with the bigger coins. But I don't think we're going to see the true alt season where the smaller coins that are like under $1 million market cap really, really pump more than just one here, one there. I mean, probably until the middle of next year.
Yeah. I mean, also Willy Woo did this post where he looks at the top 2,600 altcoins out there, compares them to Bitcoin. About 10 of the top 2,600 are oscillators. The rest are degenerators. So basically 2,590 altcoins just lose their value compared with Bitcoin. 10 oscillate back and forth. Dogecoin, Stellar, some other ones. But pretty much, I mean,
we're all looking for short-term games in altcoins. I mean, that's what we're all looking for, right?
Yeah,
I mean, people are always talking about stacking sats. I mean, I'm trying gaining Gways now. That's what I'm doing. I'm gaining Gways. I'm trying to get my Ethereum stacked up. Okay, I'm trying to get as much Ethereum as possible because I think it's going to outperform Bitcoin by 2 to 3 times over the next year.
It could be number one soon.
All these other What's that?
The network effect. It could be the top altcoins or the top coin soon. It could outdo Bitcoin. Yeah, it
can. I think so. I mean, if it can just get, you know, I bring this up a lot on my channel, which is Ethereum at its peak compared to Bitcoin was actually 15% of Bitcoin's price. One Ethereum was 15% of one Bitcoin. Yeah. Around the peak of the bull run last year, it was around 10%. Right now, it's at 2.8 to 2.9%. If it can just get back up to 7.5%, it would 3 times outperform Bitcoin in terms of your investment ROI. So,
but school me on Cardano.
I mean, so I think Ethereum is the future, right? Because everyone's putting all the attention on Bitcoin. Yep. Bitcoin is the old man's trade, honestly, right? Institutions are getting into Bitcoin, and for the first time in history, retail investors and traders were able to front run institutions with Bitcoin. Yeah. Now they're on board Bitcoin, they're sleeping on Ethereum. I think Ethereum is the real money. Honestly, I'm not paying too much attention, too much focus into Bitcoin because ETH is the real move. ETH 2.0 is coming out, also pumping. DeFi is happening. This is where the money is in ETH, in my opinion.
We can't forget about DOT either. We can't forget about parachains, DOT. That ecosystem is going to explode. It already is exploding. I mean, if you invest in a new project that's DOT, you know it's going to go up just because it's on DOT. It seems like that's the new theme in crypto, especially if you're investing in like these newer projects that come out. They're doing some multi-X gains.
I love it. I would just say the awareness of DOT is nowhere near the awareness of Ethereum. It's got the money in it because it's got big investment money in it, but I think that's really where Ethereum shines. Is by the end of this bull run, I think Ethereum is going to be a household name like Bitcoin, was from the last bull run.
Yeah, and I think the Ethereum CME features that are coming out in Feb, that's kind of the start of institutions getting into ETH.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I ask though, why Polkadot and why Cardano? Because it seems a lot to me like the last bull run, Neo and Omiza Go and all these other platforms. They're just like the newest platforms that, and I think Cardano is just a bunch of fanboys from 2017. But I mean, school me on it. I'm looking to learn. Like I know that Hoskinson's doing stuff in Africa.
Well, I think the thing, the thing with that, I actually have an interview tomorrow with him on my channel. We're recording it tomorrow, so we get to ask him a lot of questions. But I was recently in a private meeting with Charles Hoskinson and another team, and I got to see a lot of stuff they were talking about back and forth. And I think really what Cardano is making on is it's going to be easier to build on Cardano for people that don't know what they're doing compared to everything else. I mean, Plutus is going to be a smart contract language. It's going to be like extremely easy for people to do. They've got that Marlowe playground.
Well, that's what everybody's doing though. That's what Lisk was doing. That's what Blockstack is doing. Everybody's making the easiest dApp platform, but it's really the one dApp platform that everyone's using is Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, but it's like Ethereum has such a big market share that like Cardano or DOT eating into like 10-15% of that is still a large amount, So I don't think it's, there's nothing out there that's like, oh, we just have one of this. Everything's competition. I think that's good for crypto. It's going to push it forward. But I mean, I kind of, I see what you're saying about comparing.
Well, I'm just curious, like why Cardano? So just at their ease of use?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, guys.
Ease
So
of
let's
use and the
segue to a
idea
new
of interoperability.
topic real quick. Okay, so
New topic.
let's change topics real quick. So the question people are always asking is, what's the Moonshot, right? What's your favorite project, right? So we actually have a special announcement to make to your audiences as well. We're launching the Tokenmetrics Moonshot contest.
Ooh.
So let me actually pull up my screen here, and we're giving away money.
And Tokenmetrics is 25% off right now, right?
Yes.
Go to the
Well,
link below and smash
soon.
that up.
Coming soon, right? But anyway,
Use my link. Everybody use my link. It's down below. It's tm.bitboy.live. Use that.
Can you guys view my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we're announcing this contest, and we're giving away $1,000 in a week, and a free Tokenmetrics account to the person who can pick the best coin that's going to do the best ROI in the next 1 week.
Oh.
So this goes out to you guys, to anybody in the crypto sphere, and this is how you partake, right? So pick a top 100 market cap coin. Mention that coin, tag Tokenmetrics Inc. on Twitter, tag the project, and use the hashtag Tokenmetrics. And on the next live stream, we'll give away $1,000. That's USD.
All in.
Right? Plus a free Tokenmetrics account. So
Cool.
I think let's get the prediction started. What do you guys think? What project do you think best in the next 1 week?
I would have to look that up.
Coach K? No?
Are we gonna go with coins that are out or ones that are launching?
Coins inside the top 100 market cap.
I'm going to throw one out there.
Inside the top 100.
I'm going synthetics.
Oh.
I'm going DeFi. I'm going top blue chip DeFi. The one that hasn't really seemed to get the same momentum yet that Aave has and Compound had and things like that. So I think synthetics. Also, Tokenmetrics had them a 99.9% a couple weeks ago. So just saying.
I'm
I
going
also do own SNX as well. Good pick.
I
Go ahead.
am going to say Quant because it's the most down in the past 7 days. So that's a good chance it's going to go up.
Good
Reversion
strategy.
to the mean.
Good strategy. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Rose. I'm going with Rose for the next
What is
7
Rose?
days.
That's Ocean? I mean, not Ocean, but something. The blockchain.
You
project,
sponsored
right?
by Bang now?
Yes. Look at it.
They said I wasn't bangable.
Are you? It's good.
Wait, how'd they pick the name Rose? That makes no sense.
I have
but
no
think
idea.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
Because their shit don't stink. Their shitcoin don't
Yeah.
stink.
about.
Because
It's
everything's
Oasis
coming up
Network.
flowers.
They're based out of the U.S. They have tons of partnerships, and I just think that they're starting to move, but they haven't really had that big move yet. And I think Rose is going to be the one that's going to just crack it and start moving really, really quickly. So that's my guess. It's my
How about you,
prediction.
Bill?
If we're looking
What's
at
your
it.
prediction?
All right. Well, my number one was synthetics, but that's taken. So
go.
I'll go Dash.
Ooh, I like Dash too. That's a good one. I
Dash.
like.
I mean, if you look at the chart and you look where that came from, I mean,
Mhm.
that was a $600 coin or $400 coin at one point.
Wait, it was more than that, wasn't it? It was a lot more than that.
It was a lot more than
1,500
that.
at one time.
Right.
Yeah.
And people are using that as money. I mean,
Yeah.
right. So
I like Dash. I had
Let's do
Amanda
it.
B. Johnson on my channel. She's great.
She's still
Yeah.
making
Also,
videos?
can I just throw it like a side thing here? This is one that I don't know much about, but I really want to learn about. And 3 Commas just sent me an email about them, and I just noticed them on the top 100. A sneaky one, Avalanche. You guys check that
Oh
out.
yeah,
Brand new.
ADA Labs.
Yeah, brand new. Check that one out. Avalanche.
All
Avalanche.
right, so I'll actually pick one. I'm going for Blockstack.
I love Blockstack.
So I know they're launching their new blockchain 2.0.
Mhm.
Plus, we also have an interview coming up with the CEO tomorrow. So everybody on our channel, check it out with Manip Ali. So I think they're going on a big marketing sprint in the next week or two, maybe even the whole month. So I think that should do pretty well.
What about top altcoin for the bull run? I have one.
Go
I'll
ahead.
start.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just looking into Stellar, and I'm not real big on XRP, but Stellar, I saw they're trying to become like the main blockchain for these central bank digital currencies. And it seems like every central bank
Interesting.
is trying to come up with their own digital currency. Stellar wants to be the altcoin positioned for that. And so I think potentially, because we could be heading towards this central bank digital currency thing, Stellar could potentially be one of the top performing altcoins.
right.
got
Tezos is rumored to be like the test net for the digital euro.
Yeah.
And I agree that somewhere somebody's going to pick one of these underused blockchains, maybe EOS. You know, these guys who did the build it and they will come.
Yo, how cool would it be if they chose Dogecoin?
TikTok would love it. I know that. TikTok loves Dogecoin.
It makes a lot of really good gains.
It does. I had somebody made a comment on his TikTok video I did about Dogecoin. They're like, "What kind of idiot would put money into a coin about a dog?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, the people that put money into it made a
Welcome
lot
to
of money.
crypto.
You know, I mean, welcome to crypto.
Welcome to crypto.
Yeah, it's amazing. I tell you guys, it's like amazing to me the secret knowledge that you have if you watch crypto YouTube. Like the general public, 99.9% of people, they don't know anything about what we know. And it's just so amazing when you talk to people and you see these comments that people make on, social media that aren't into crypto. And it's like I explain this to people all the time about like the Bitcoin cycles and like why we know we're at the beginning, not at the end. It's like your average person just has no clue about any of this. It's so fun. Makes me feel like a wise man.
So
It
lots
would have
of
been
people in
nice
the
to know all
comments-
this stuff in 2017.
It would have been. It would have been. But we were too
Yeah.
busy watching people like you, and you were screwing us over, Randall.
So
You
lots
look
of
at
people are
top
saying
Google
XRP,
searches for 2020. Bitcoin
EOS.
and crypto doesn't show up once.
Yeah.
No, retail's not in yet.
No,
It's
not
really
at all.
just institutions. These guys. I mean, I've had a few. They're starting to come in. I've had a few, but in general, they're not really in yet. They're coming in slowly. They're slowly
Well,
filtering in.
The retail people that are coming in are the ones who are coming. They're coming for what I said earlier. They're starting to realize, like, wait, they're talking about $7 trillion in stimulus for 2021.
What?
That doesn't. Yeah, that's the number they're
Dude,
floating
they
around for the
already
whole year.
printed 25% of the money supply ever.
Yes,
in
if
the
they do
year.
7 trillion,
This year.
it will be like almost 50%.
So
you know,
this year and next year, 50% of all the money
Yeah.
ever. Jesus.
so
I don't
smart
think the
people
average-
are seeing
yeah.
that.
I don't think the average person understands that, like, your money you have in the bank right now, if you print 25% more supply of money, it is now worth pretty much 25% less. So now you have to go to buy the store. You have to go to the store, buy milk or eggs. That's gonna end up being 25% more. And
yeah, and you got to see these commodity prices, like the commodity charts.
Absolutely.
Oil,
Everything.
gold, beans, CRB index.
Mhm.
I mean, commodity up, dollar lower. I mean, it's like right out of your freshman economics textbooks, and people aren't going to get it.
I just
By the time
overlay
people
of-
figure out that they need to hedge via PayPal, you know, Litecoin's going to be at 300.
Which is why you should start buying
you're gonna see this
Pokemon cards
hedge on
now.
a chart too. Like
Pokemon
the
cards, yeah.
DXY
Or
keeps going
Bitcoin.
down, Bitcoin keeps going up, and people are asking me, why does that happen? And I'm like, well, if you're printing more money and Bitcoin can't be printed, why do you think that's a divergence that's starting to happen? And then they're like, well, the stock market's going up. I'm like, yeah, because people get value from the stock market from their dollars because they're putting it into something that's worth something, you know. And they're just like, it's like people are starting to clue into that.
Yeah.
They have to be educated. No one's, if you just tell them like, oh yeah, this is how it is, they're like, okay, and then they just go about their day. So like I had this long conversation with my mom this weekend. I was like, Mom, just buy a little bit. I told you at $3,500 to buy just one Bitcoin and you'd be up this much. And she was like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, like you didn't listen now. Like now maybe you want to wait for it to retrace, but it might not happen. So put $100 in, put $500 in, just start somewhere, because once you see that go up, then you're good. Go love.
Yo, question. So do you guys think there's going to be a stock market crash? And do you think there will be a correlation with Bitcoin and crashing if the stock market crashes?
I don't see a crash coming. I mean, because they're pumping it up.
Not 2021,
so much
2022.
money.
Yeah.
They're printing more money. So where's the money going? It's going into the stock market and it's going into crypto market. And until they stop printing more money, the money is going to keep going into the markets. And who's getting all this money? That's the question you should really be asking. Like,
No, I mean, the Treasury Secretary's Janet Yellen, right? So,
Joe, wait, we have a new name for her. It's Janet. No telling Yellen, because there's no telling how much that printer gonna go.
yeah, I mean, when Janet was running the Fed, they couldn't tolerate a 5% decline in equities. It went down 5%, and they turned it on. Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna do 7 trillion. They're gonna do universal basic income.
Yep.
You know, that's it. And that's why the central banks are going to need digital currencies, you know, so
send it out quick.
Well, send it out quick and then earmark it for certain purchases, not Tesla stock on margin. So it'll be an expanded version. The digital currencies issued by the central banks will be like expanded versions of food stamps. You'll be able to buy food, clothes, necessity, Uber, transportation. Just, you know, you won't be able to open up a margin account on Robinhood.
Yeah. So here's something interesting
to the US. You think that's why the US and UK have kind of got rid of the derivatives markets for Bitcoin, at least? Like, is that maybe potentially why? Like, for people watching, do you guys think? Leave a comment. Do you think that's why there's no derivatives markets, so that you have to actually buy it with your own money and you're not losing, you know, 5 times as much because you think adding leverage doesn't increase your risk because you're adding more risk because you're adding leverage? I don't know. I'm curious to like have your guys' thoughts on that, like, because there are taking away derivatives and leveraged accounts and margin accounts.
Yeah, the powers that be, if they want you to be levered, they want you to be levered propping up equities.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if everybody got levered in crypto, the prices would be so high they'd be probably more embarrassed than they already are.
Yeah, I think it's really simple. It's a lot simpler than all that, which is that they see how much money is going out to these exchanges that are overseas, and they don't want that. They want to control it. But I think that one of the things that people don't see about this, that I think the lower income people in the United States are probably going to start realizing soon, which is with us, you know, raising minimum wage in a lot of places, you know, soon across the United States, we all see what's coming, $15 an hour. Well, when you're making $15 an hour to flip burgers, you know, what's going to happen there is you're going to be making a livable wage. That's great. But the inflation is causing the value of that money to go down. So what's actually happening is you're going to be raising out of being able to be in government programs. You're going to be raising to higher tax brackets, and you're not going to be able to afford anything extra. You're going to still be in the exact same situation. And I think, you know, the government is going to keep that Ponzi scheme going as long as they can possibly have it going. I think what we're looking at when we look long term at the economy, it's not going to crash in 2021. 2021 is going to be a great year for the stock market. It's going to be a great year for Bitcoin. It's going to be a great year for everything. It's not going to be a great year for the US dollar. I mean, obviously the inflation is going to cause, we could lose the reserve currency by the end of next year. But as far as our actual economy goes, like as long as they just keep Like it literally is a Ponzi scheme. Like it literally is. Like they're printing more money to borrow, to pay to people. This money is not going to come back in taxes. This money isn't going to get replaced. It's just simple supply and demand. And nobody's going to have to pay rent in 2021. Nobody's going to have to pay rent. Nobody's going to get evicted. If you're like, just a small, a person who rents out a house here, rents out a house there, like you're going to be in bad shape because you won't be able to evict people. But once all of this vaccine gets dispersed, once everything starts returning back to normal, even Bill Gates himself, said that by early 2022, we will be looking at getting back to normal. Well, when we get back to normal and everybody is able to get back working and people are going to have to start paying rent and we're going to start reaping all of the consequences, they're going to come from the last year and next year is going to be extremely ugly. We just got to cross our fingers it doesn't turn into the, Walking Dead apocalypse minus zombies around here, because that's about what it's going to be.
We love zombies though.
Well, if we're going to go Walking Dead, we might as well bring the zombies on. So, I mean, I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's tokenize them as NFTs.
You did see that McConnell did approve the $1 billion stimulus just today for coronavirus.
Yeah, but that's not doing anything though. That's the thing though. That $900 billion is not that's not doing anything, because, and that's why this is just the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Because people hear like stimulus, they're like, oh yeah, stimulus. Where's my check? Where's my check at? It's Friday. Pass me my check. But that $900 billion is all going to corporations and payroll protection programs. That's not even any airdrop money. So people hear that, they get excited. They're like, I can get this check and put it in Bitcoin or do what I did, buy an iMac Pro, that's what people hear, but that's not what's even coming yet. So I don't know why everybody's so excited about that. That all this paycheck protection program is going to do is just allow people to be out of work for longer. So if you're not working and you're getting paid, then
right.
You might like
And
it.
of course, it's not going to cover. It's not going to cover anything because Joe's going to probably shut it down for 4 months. General public won't have the vaccine. They got to do frontline healthcare workers and all of the first responders.
Yeah. And over 74, that's the number they're saying. If you're over 74,
right? So Joe Public, this is of course assumes the vaccine doesn't start the zombie apocalypse like in I Am Legend. Assuming the vaccine works, general public's not going to get it for 4 months.
Yeah.
So if he wants to stop it from spreading, he may have to shut the whole thing down. I drove by a Sam's parking lot the other day. I think people get it. People may be ready for 4 to 6 weeks, but they're not ready for 4 to 6 months. Imagine, right? That's why I think all these alternative monies that are available in PayPal are just going to smoke.
Yeah.
Aren't they already though?
All right,
They're already
so,
buying more than
let's-
yeah.
Hold on. So let's change topics real quick. Let's talk about Elon Musk.
Who's
He's
that?
pretty
Yeah.
popular in the news.
He's had some interesting posts recently.
Yes, he has. That is quite the understatement. Let me just get this over here.
Yo,
This
did
one
you
was
guys
asking
know
when the
that?
contest ends? Contest is ending on the next live stream. So by the 20s, basically, let's say by the 26th, right? So once again, $1,000 we're giving away to the person who picks the coin that will go up the most between now and the next live stream. Okay, so for all the kids watching, cover your eyes.
I'm trying to cover the screen with my hand, but it's not working.
All right, so Elon Musk, second richest person in the world, billionaire, posted this on Twitter.
Oh my god.
Me trying
I'm
to
getting
live a
kinda
no
hot
more
over here.
productive life, and Bitcoin is
Tesla went up
temptation.
500%.
Then Michael Saylor said, if you want to do your shareholders a $100 billion favor, convert the Tesla balance sheet from USD to Bitcoin. Then Elon Musk says, are specialized transactions possible? Then he's trying to slide into the DMs of Elon.
Yeah.
I mean, so what would you guys think would happen? I guess it kind of speaks for itself. If Elon Musk put Bitcoin on Tesla's balance sheet.
Well,
How
the
big
number
would that
one,
be?
the number one thing would be Elon. If you're listening, if you can sign up for under my OTC link to buy Bitcoin, it's cb.bitcoin or .bitboy.live. That's Caleb and Brown.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elon. I will be very rich. Thank you.
I think Elon, if he's going to get the amount of Bitcoin that he wants, he's going to have to buy Saylor's company. When this whole thing with Saylor started, somebody said, it'll be easier to buy a company that holds a bunch of Bitcoin than it will be to actually buy the Bitcoin. So I think, Musk is upset because Saylor has turned himself into like the Steve Jobs on Twitter. except instead of talking at the iPhone release, twice a year, Sailors just took over the whole narrative. Like no one's listening to Elon because they're all listening to Sailor.
He's organizing a Bitcoin pump and dump. Does nobody see this?
I mean, so for perspective, Tesla is $660 billion market cap.
Mm.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is
500.
Right.
something.
And he's going to need
440.
something to justify that market cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, I think,
so
I think
Bill, I mean, like when a company puts money in the treasury, is it typically like what, 5-10%? How much do you know how much MicroStrategy?
I don't think there's a set percentage that they hold in cash. Okay. What matters is how many different currencies they hold. Right. In other words, they'll hold, they may hold whatever currency gives them the highest yield on a deposit. This segues back into our first conversation. That, Bitcoin is becoming so big. It's not just a currency. It's now collateral.
Yeah, and all these companies now are talking about their Bitcoin strategy. And
Yep.
like I said, each company is buying up 1,000th of the total Bitcoin. And there's 630,000 publicly traded companies in the world. Like, do you realize what fraction of actual companies can do this? And then there goes all the Bitcoin.
Right.
Well, they say,
and then the game
half.
becomes, okay, I've got Bitcoin on my balance sheet. Now, what kind of return can I get on it?
Yeah.
And I think the case for altcoins is that once this Bitcoin starts to enter the DeFi system, because folks, you can't put it in the bank. You can't deposit it at the Fed.
Yes, you can.
Right?
You can put it in Celsius wallet. That's better than a bank. Gets you 6% on your Bitcoin. Return in Bitcoin.
Well, it'll make its way into the DeFi system. And, you'll have Ethereum as the main DeFi highway, and you'll have other DeFi highways, whether it's Cardano or Polkadot or whichever. But you're probably going to need more than one highway. And then, like I said, that's the case for ETH. When all this Bitcoin goes from being currency to collateral at the institutional level, the DeFi system is just going to explode.
And what does that look like?
Well, I mean,
Thanks, big boy.
I mean, there's an underappreciated. This is just one example. There's an underappreciated currency coin, Ren, right? It's like a toll system between, like, say, Ethereum and Polkadot, right? So whatever coins benefit from transit back and forth. I mean, obviously, Aave for all the lending and speculation. Yearn, the big blue chips, right? And then there's like Uni and Don't Laugh Sushi, right? People are going to want to stake with reputable groups. Now, I realize that saying sushi is a reputable group or Uni is a reputable group, but nobody thought that Bitcoin was going to be royalty. I mean, the Bitcoin maximalists are going to have to drop the flip-flops and go to Brooks Brothers for the corporate holiday parties. So if you fast forward it a year, DeFi, Ethereum, as BitBoy said, is household word.
Yeah.
I mean, with negative rates, I mean, do you realize right now there's so much money being printed that Greece, which was insolvent 10 years ago and almost took the world down, you now have to pay Greece to hold your money. Greek debt is negative yield. Last I checked.
Yeah, there's trillions of dollars of negative interest assets out there.
Right. So if you can go
It's
into
absurd.
the DeFi system and get,
Dude, on Celsius, you can get 22% on some of the altcoins there. Like,
they're coming. I'm calling it crypto happy. I mean, Novogratz, I saw online, just got a tattoo of the moon on his sleeve.
Carl?
I saw that too on his IG. He posted he was going to a tattoo parlor. So he actually had a tattoo today.
I saw it. I saw it in a hedge fund chat room. Novogratz with a blue mask with his moon tattoo on his arm. So either he put out the tattoo and sold everything, which I doubt, or
But
he's
that's not really that big of a
he's gonna buy gold and DeFi.
Wait, so
Does he
it's a
have his
moon
private
tattoo,
key
right?
installed in the tattoo? That's the question. Someone may want to
pretty
go
dumb.
pick that up.
Maybe
Just
if
cut
he
his
had
arm
like
off.
a XRP tattoo or something, then that would be something.
Yeah.
Crypto.
I'd like to go back real quick to the conversation we were having a second ago about Bitcoin and the treasuries. Saw a stat that said 50% of all major corporations will have Bitcoin in their treasuries by the end of 2021. So
Yeah.
don't throw that out.
50%?
You know, Randall was, what's that?
50%, 50%?
Yeah, 50%.
Wow.
That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah. So I think that now I don't know if that's a predictive stat or if it's based on the current buying right now, but you know, everybody's looking for this strategy to add Bitcoin to their treasury, and you know, Bitcoin doesn't really do anything. You know, that's why I think a lot of these altcoins have big advantage. They actually do things. You know, like Ethereum, other than just collect digital dust and make you money. And so I think when we're looking at all these altcoins like Ethereum, we're talking about building the decentralized internet of value, as they say. A woman from CoinDesk coined that. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended. And I think that, you know, when you look at all of these, I think really one of the interesting things about a lot of these newer altcoins that we're seeing, we're talking about, you know, being able to stake them on Celsius. We're talking about stake and sushi, and we're not talking hibachi here. Okay. When we're talking about staking, a lot of these projects, it's like their entire purpose is to stake and make money. And I don't think that's a long-term good proposition. Like
it's a house of cards.
Yeah, it's a house of cards, you know, but when you look at like what Ethereum, Chainlink, you know, all these projects are doing, you know, I think it's very important right now for people to understand that this is not the time to be throwing all of your money into super small altcoins, unless if you have $25 that you can spare to put into crypto, then you're probably going to want to take that $25 and put it basically on a roulette wheel, you know, and just throw it in something. But if you have any investment dollars set aside, you gotta be looking at the bigger projects. And I think a lot of people, they look at these coins like on Celsius or on any platform where you can make such high returns on them, and they don't factor in. And this is something across the board with staking. You have to factor in how well you think the coin itself is going to do. Because if I have Ethereum and I get 8% on Ethereum, and it, you know, 3x's over the next 3 months, or I get, you know, 22% on an altcoin that just stays flatlined over the next 3 months, I'm going to make more money with Ethereum. So I just think it's really important that people are really looking at what they're putting their money into. And, you know, this isn't a casino. We're talking about big numbers, big staking numbers, but you got to really do your research and know what you're putting your money into. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
That's a good point.
Okay, so lots of people in the comments are asking for our thoughts on XRP. What do you guys think XRP is going?
I think it's dead since DeFi came around.
Dead.
Who cares about all links with banks anymore when you can put your money in DeFi projects and get 1,000,000 times better returns than banks?
Yeah. I think XRP with the whole Flare thing, I think Flare might do well because it's trying to copy what Ethereum 2.0 is doing. So it has a chance, but not the adoption. But I mean, XRP itself, I mean, they're even going back on their words. Oh, we might burn the supply. Well, now you're a security like we all thought you were. I don't know. Their team has sold off a ton of their own personal tokens, so it kind of makes you feel like maybe they
but I mean, to kind of play devil's advocate. So Coinbase filed for the first essentially crypto IPO, and Ripple is next.
Yeah,
because
Ripple's fine. Ripple's a good company. It's a company that makes money.
Right. So
company that makes money. Yes.
If Ripple were to do an IPO, people could possibly buy XRP just based on that marketing of Ripple doing an IPO. And I think that could be a huge wave.
People are going to buy. Someone's going to buy Ripple Inc. The reason that they want to IPO is because, like, you know, for example, if you wanted Michael Saylor's Bitcoin, you'd have to take over MicroStrategy. Well, if somebody wants to get into the cryptocurrency game, right? Well, they could build their own blockchain, or they could just buy Ripple Inc. that controls a large part of the supply in XRP. Now, I realize, you know, people have strong views on both sides, but here's a fact, folks. XRP is money, and what Ripple Inc. has with XRP is almost like what Michael Saylor is going to wind up having with Bitcoin. So the whole narrative about that coin could change. And if it holds 50 cents,
good point.
You know, somebody's got to prove that they want it, right? Yeah. But if they prove that they want it, again, what is US retail? I mean, if they have a story, right? And then US retail comes in, oh man.
I would say this is a very interesting conversation I have on my channel a lot with people, which is especially like regarding the regulation that just came out, that they pushed through about, self-hosted, self-custodian wallets. Okay. There's a nonstop conversation in crypto with two tracks. Number one, what's good for my wallet? And number two, what's good for decentralization and good for cryptocurrency and good for money and good for the economy? And they're two totally different conversations. So like XRP, like, yeah, Randall, what's it going to do? Like, what's the purpose of it really? Like it's the banker coin, but then at the same time, like it's doing a lot of the same stuff Stellar is. So like if Stellar is going to do well, I mean, XRP could do well. That's one conversation. The other conversation though, is like, what's it actually going to do money wise? And it's going to do really well. We saw what happened with the recent pump where it went up 60% in a day. And then, it might've been 120%. It was crazy. Like it went from 25 cents up to 70 cents and back down, whatever it was. And then coincidentally, we saw like right after that, Stellar did the exact same thing. Jed McCaleb doesn't like to be shown up. That guy, he's going to make sure he pumps that Stellar.
Dude, he owns 9% of all the XRP.
Yeah. Well, but he can only sell it off every month, and it's not a hugely significant amount that dumps price. This is one of the things that people have to understand about Ripple. Okay. These are smart people. Like sometimes I feel like, and trust me, I think a lot of us have learned this lesson. If you're at the top in crypto, the world is not kind to you. Like whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a founder, whether you're a company, when you're on top in this business, you get a lot of hate and you get a lot of unfounded, untrue stuff said about you. And we've seen that all across the board. Don't lose the fact that Brad Garlinghouse is a genius. Okay. Don't lose sight of that. He's built this company from nothing. He is a smart guy. Same thing can be said about Vitalik. Same thing can be said about Charles Hoskinson. These are some of the smartest people in the world that have been able to build this industry, right? During the bear market, they had to sell XRP and dump it nonstop in order to keep their business profitable and to keep paying people and not lay people off. That's what they were doing. But they know this bull run is coming. They've been doing their best to sell the coins over the bear market to stay above water. But now that it's time for this bull run to take off and the altcoins to do well, they're not going to do that. They're going to let the value go up. And XRP is the number, if you don't count Tether, it's the number 3 cryptocurrency out there, not changing anytime soon. And they're going to make sure like all of these people understand tokenomics. They understand how to make these projects run. And so if you're an XRP, you're going to make money. It's not like Ethereum is going to 10x and XRP is going to like go down 50%. It's going to go up and people are going to be looking for that easy, people look at the top, they see Bitcoin, they say, and you guys understand this.
Too expensive.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, what I'm about to say. We understand the psychology of new investors coming in. They see Bitcoin, it's at $24,000. They say, oh, I already missed that one. Some people are looking at Ethereum and say, it's already $700. I already missed that one.
And then they buy Tether.
Or XRP, it's 50 cents. Let me go buy it. Let's do it. Let's make all this money. And that's the way people think. That's not going to change. The psychology of new investors is going to stay the same. So I think XRP is going to, will it be one of the top 10 performing coins in 2021? I don't think so. I don't think it would be one of the top 10 performing coins. Will it be one of the top 20 to 30 performing coins, like outside of like micro caps that 10x overnight? Yeah, I think it will. I mean, so I don't think it's a dumb, it basically, here's what I'm trying to say. If you've been in XRP for a long time and you're like thinking you're going to get your money back or you're going to make money, you are. I wouldn't get out of it right now. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sounds good. Anybody else with thoughts on XRP, Ripple?
No, I'm good. I think that was well said, Ben. Like it's a project a lot of people hate. At the same time, it will probably do really well. It's just me personally. I think that I'll take the trades when and there's people that are an XRP army. I give them trouble because they always say Bitcoin's a dinosaur. They try to compare it to like WeChat to not WeChat to MySpace to Facebook and stuff. And I'm always like, well, you're talking about money versus like tech, which is not really the same thing. But I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere at all. I think XRP can do well.
What happens if they call it a security though?
They won't.
It probably won't because they've been working with regulators the whole time.
Yeah.
Even though
they got relationships with banks.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the securities argument, I mean, I think, like, from what we've seen in the past, when these things may or may not be called security, I mean, they're really talking about the token sales itself, you know. But once it's on the open market, they're probably not going to call it a security. I think they're gonna consider a lot of these projects that have token sales. The token sale was a security because you were told if you get in on this round and you buy this coin, then you're going to get a return. But, you know, for a lot of these ones that actually have utility once they're on the open market, I mean, that's Pandora's box, can't get put back in. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is going to be clamped down in the future, but, you know, a lot of that stuff that was done in the past, if you don't go right back at the SEC like we saw Ken do, I think you're probably going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Innovation is good.
All right. How are we doing on time? Everyone's good? Anybody have to
I'm fine.
leave soon?
We're good.
No.
All right.
All good.
Do you guys have any questions from your audience you guys want to ask? Maybe in the comments?
I had one good one from TraderXO. He asked about he wanted to ask about the dropping dollar due to QE and low rates, but the euro and the ECB won't be pleased with a higher euro dollar when they're trying to stimulate the euro economy and need a lower euro. So what's our take on that? That's what he was asking. Pretty in-depth question, but a good one.
Sorry, could you rephrase that?
I'll repeat that again. So he says that we talk about the dollar dropping due to quantitative easing and low rates, but the euro and the ECB, they're not really going to be pleased with that because of higher euro dollar. So when they're trying to stimulate the euro economy, they need an actual lower euro. So he wanted to know like what our take was on that. I don't know if it was a well-asked question in that way, but
Yeah, what's going on with
kinda
quantitative easing on the euro? I don't know. Like, which I don't follow the European market closely
either.
because I eat freedom fries.
So here's an idea. So in crypto, we all sort of operate with the underlying, you know, thing under our skin that the governments are going to wake up one day and hate crypto and ban it. I got a different idea. With this whole idea about race to the bottom, if you have to devalue the dollar, okay, yeah, maybe you could do it against, you know, sterling or yen a little. But the major devaluation of the dollar that they're going to want is versus crypto and versus commodities, right? They're going to want commodities and crypto up, dollar down, all fiat down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's the government would actually prefer the dollar devaluation be done in crypto.
Well, they're talking about a new Bretton Woods, and basically you're better off having commodities at this time because they may form some type of union together where all countries devalue their fiats at the same time.
This is crazy.
And unless you have some commodities, you're kind of screwed.
Right. I mean, it's already happening. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Oh God, this
Okay.
is the scary. This is the scary stuff. This is what I don't like talking about. Well, I like doing videos on it, but I don't.
All right. Well, it's simple. Like Brent,
Crazy.
this is oil. Brent breaking out, right? Green candle. Okay. CRB index. This is grains and metals breaking out, right? Look at the give up trade in March in commodities.
Wow.
Okay. Give up and then the other way. Soybeans. This is food in Asia. Okay. This looks like an
Looks like a
altcoin.
crypto chart.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys
Here's
remember when?
copper. Here's look, you know, copper. It's like
Yeah.
the dollar devaluation is happening against physical assets, and I
see
have
rhodium.
absolutely no idea why everyone's given up on gold. Every day I see.
I
this
think
thing.
gold's a great
I
investment.
mean, I get it. I get it that Bitcoin
Yeah.
could go up a lot, right? I get it, but giving up on gold, I mean, gold could 10x next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
You saw
I will
rhodium
not
went
fault
up to
anyone.
13,000. Did you guys see that? Like rhodium
No.
went from like I think was like 1,000 to 13,000 in a week, like 13x in a week.
Sounds like our subscribers.
You don't see that ever in like metals, but it was pretty amazing to watch.
Right. So that's where they want the dollar devaluation. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It is happening right now.
So
Do you guys
I'm-
remember when? Do you guys remember when oil was negative?
I know.
Yeah.
That was
that's what
crazy.
Tom said. Tom
That was
said
insane.
I saw
Bitcoin,
people question
oil went to
this.
zero, but Bitcoin didn't.
It went to negative. It went to negative like
went negative.
$3 or something. It was insane. I
Right.
really like that.
You got to
What a
pay
time to be
somebody.
alive.
Could've
You
been
got to
your best
pay
short
somebody
ever.
$33 a barrel to take your oil.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious if when all these countries devalue their fiats, if we see like Bulgaria become one of the new richest countries because they seized a whole bunch of Bitcoin back in the day.
No, didn't they? I thought they sold it. I thought they sold it all to pay off their debts.
I'm not sure.
I think they did. That was the story. So they
Bulgarian always pays up its debt.
exactly.
well,
they had
the
at one
fortunes
time
of Venezuela could turn around because the Venezuelan consumer that knows how to mine his own crypto.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of suddenly wealthy people in that country, believe it or not.
So it was like with Bulgaria, they got a bunch of money from organized crime, and I think they used it to pay off like 25% of their national debt or something like that. It's crazy. If they would have held it, they could have paid off 100%. But I think that the thing about, thinking of the governments, like what our government is going to do in the future is very interesting. I would give anything to know how much Bitcoin our government has set aside. We know they had a ton from Silk Road. They still have a lot of that. And I would be very curious to see because, I think that's one thing people aren't really thinking about, which is if we do lose the reserve currency, if our government in the United States had a bunch of Bitcoin, then, they might push to make that reserve currency possibly.
What if it
not the
became a
SDRs,
Bitcoin standard instead of a gold standard? How cool would that be?
That would be cool. Well, see, that's the thing that I did a video on that
with it.
because it's very interesting. A lot of people don't think about that. Like, I, for a long time, was like, Bitcoin will never be the reserve currency because I was taking it from the perspective of like governments aren't just going to be like, let's go with Bitcoin. But like, what if Bitcoin became the standard to base value on? Then it's not really like, it's not at one country owning the reserve currency.
The only one thing I thought about that was before they made gold, the gold standard, they had like, I forget what law it was, where basically you had to give up your gold or else you went to prison.
Yeah. It was like
Yeah.
right after the stock market crash, I think in 1929, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's very interesting stuff. And I've actually done a series on my channel called The Great Reset. We got part 5, the last one coming out on Wednesday, because that's the really scary stuff where they're talking about the World Economic Forum. There's a blog that they put out a few years ago that's just like terrifying. They're like, well, I used to think I wanted privacy, but now I've totally decided, like they're giving the perspective of like a girl living in the future. And then she's like, I used to think I really valued privacy, but now that I have absolutely none, I've decided I don't even like privacy. And it's just like such scary stuff coming from there. And where they're talking about the Great Reset and wanting like get rid of meritocracy. It's basically communism and socialism, which if that ever happens, America has to be the chess piece to fall for the rest of the world to go that way. So that's kind of what, I think some people are pushing for. It's like Bitcoin's our last holdout. But speaking of last holdouts, I want to ask you a question came from my audience, which is, what are our thoughts on privacy coins?
Nobody's mentioned them in a long time. Remember the privacy coin run where there was like
yeah, they were pumping every month.
Oh yeah.
Privacy went
So I
crazy.
think privacy coins will always have a use case, but governments are trying to ban them. They're going after them hard. Exchanges are
Yeah, I said in
ghosting them.
2017, I got a lot of flack in 2017 because I was probably the only person that was saying like, yeah, these guys are going to probably not do well long term because the first thing the governments are going to go after is privacy coins because you can do stuff they don't know about and you can hide it. And I mean, and you saw what happened with Monero and them basically paying a fee to, I think, what was it? Who was it that actually?
Do you think they actually cracked it or no?
No. They have. Well, they're trying to put a patent together. I think it's CipherTrace. Trying to put a patent together to.
Those guys that actually helped. I think they helped you, Ian. And so like these guys do like really in-depth research, and they worked in the FBI and all this stuff, and they're trying
Rich,
to crack
right?
Monero.
Rich
Yeah, with
Sanders?
Rich and them, right? So the thing is, will they ever crack it? I don't know. Have they cracked it? Maybe. The thing is there's always going to be someone trying to crack them. They're going to always have to do work, but I still think people are going to use them. But then you have this new wallet thing where, if you use a private wallet and they can track you. And I've been told about this from like 2 years ago. My friend ran one of the people that was in the exchange bx.in.th was the biggest exchange in Asia. And he literally like told me they were going to be doing this. They're going to track all your wallets. They're going to basically say your Bitcoin's no good because you got it from this source and you're not telling them where you're getting it from. So that's like the scarier part. Will it happen? I don't think so personally, but I don't know. Give me your take, guys. I think privacy coins have a use case, but maybe they're not going to be around forever.
So
Privacy coins have a use case because governments are going to use them.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Ooh,
Gover-
interesting
Yeah,
thought,
we will.
Bill.
Right. In other words,
Wow.
when the Pentagon or any
Ooh.
of these other big players,
Like that.
in other words, if we're going to go big brother in some way, it's kind of a high level concept, but if we're going big brother, transparency
there.
in government finances is going to disappear. Right. So privacy coins will be used by governments and
Well,
central banks, right? In other words,
When you say governments, do you mean like for, I guess, what's the word? Black ops?
Various actions.
yeah,
Nefarious?
well, black
Okay.
ops, if we're saying we're funding the military,
Espionage.
if the military budget is this, but the military budget may be a certain amount in dollars and a certain amount in, like, say, Bitcoin or Monero or whatever.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought I've never thought about. But this is what I would say about privacy coins is I used to be like dead set against them, like from an investment perspective, like, okay, well, like eventually the governments are going to crack down on these. They're going to make it where it's impossible to trade them. And, they're not good investments long term. But the funny thing is, the more we've seen governments try to crack down on them, the higher their value has gone. And you just think about, well, that makes sense. How much do you think an AK-47 is going to be if the government bans assault rifles? Like, value's going to be up. It's going to be harder to get them. You're going to have to know how, but the value itself is going to be higher. I mean, when you look at a lot of these countries or a lot of these people, that buying black market guns, I mean, you're not buying them cheaper in a lot of cases. I mean, you're buying them because they don't have a serial number on them. You know what I mean? Or their history has been washed. That's really what you're paying for. And so privacy coins, I would say that's something to consider, is that if you're invested in privacy coins big, I don't know if that's a super smart thing unless you are prepared for all of the, things that come along with that. But their individual values, I mean, they might actually, really go up based on clamping down from governments.
Right. And you'll also see the word in 2021. You'll hear the word bail in.
Ooh.
This happened in Cyprus, in Europe, where they actually just had to go to maintain government solvency. They had to go in everyone's bank account and just take 10%. Right. The day that a progressive or somebody starts that in a G7 country, privacy coins or coins with privacy functions, you'll be shocked how fast regular coins may attempt to add privacy functions to their existing.
You bring up a good point with that bail-in. I was wondering, since there's no penalty on taking out of retirement accounts now, if I should just take all that out, because with the bail-in, don't they go after retirement accounts and stuff like that? Wouldn't it be smart?
No, they wouldn't do retirement accounts. Most of the time, a bail-in would be regular brokerage accounts and bank accounts, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Randall, there's no penalty for withdrawing from
until the end of this year. Yeah.
Because of COVID?
Because of COVID, yeah. You still get taxed on it if you need to be taxed on it, but there's not the 10% penalty or whatever. Because I was considering doing that and just taking that out and putting in Bitcoin or whatever.
All right.
What do you guys think about NFTs? A lot of the people on my channel are asking, what do you guys think about NFTs?
I think there's too much hype around NFTs. Everyone's talking about NFTs, but it's still too early, I think.
I think there's a lot of BS NFTs that are just like they're there to be there. They don't have any value. There's no derived value from any of them. You're seeing people like basically they're auctioning art basically, and that's all it is. But I think NFTs can be a lot more. And yeah, I mean, you have all these new projects popping up every day. You're buying an NFT. It's a collector's item basically for a lot of these projects.
What was the quote you had, Bill, last time about NFTs, about them being Pokemon cards?
Right. Well, I mean, I started off with NFTs saying, don't go out and think your little brother's Pokemon cards are going to moon, right? But the fact is they do. They do. They are mooning. And I think what's going to happen with art is art's going to become a store of value, because I don't think they tax it the way they tax securities.
Mm-hmm.
So art is going to become a store of value. So the quality of the NFT market will be a function of the qualities of the collectibles or the art.
Yeah. Somebody said NFT stands for no effing thanks. Good job. Like you guys may know, I'm probably one of the top NFT sellers out there for the year. I mean, I got on Rarible and we sold a lot of NFTs, 6 figures worth very easily.
Oh,
And
wow.
oh yeah, we sold. I mean, in one weekend we sold. I mean, it was a lot, over 6 figures in a weekend. And the thing is that we BitBoy started out as a comic book or as a comic character. That's what BitBoy Crypto is here. BitBoy was a superhero, and so like we really saw this NFT market as a way that we could kind of like build this arena. And so it's actually like came into a lot of cool stuff. We're actually launching a BitBoy deck builder card game with Wax at the end of March or beginning of April. So I think what we've really tried to do with the NFTs is we've tried to like not make them just like, oh, here's a cool animated GIF, or like, hey, here's a piece of art. Like, I'm not an artist, you know what I mean? I've got some creative stuff, but I think what we're trying to, we have what we believe is the first NFT comic book that each page is an individual NFT. So we're working on a BitBoy comic book. And we're working on like expanding this universe and really using this as a way. We're actually working with sand. We have a lot of land in the Sandbox game, and we're actually taking BitBoy's city where he lives is called Digital City, and we're building that city inside of Sandbox. We've hired professional Minecraft builders that we're paying to come in and build this city in the Sandbox world. So there's like a lot of really cool stuff that's coming with NFTs, but at the same time, I also agree with you. And here's why. When you say that it's a little overhyped right now, NFTs are kind of like almost anything else in crypto. Like it's going to come in waves and there's going to be a hype wave. So what I've seen from a lot of projects that I've talked to is they all want to integrate NFTs into their project, kind of like the same way everybody rushed to like integrate DeFi in. And that's not a smart move right now. Because if you're trying to integrate NFTs into your platform specifically for the purpose of taking advantage of the hype that's going on right now, you've missed that. The NFT hype is gone. Like it came and it went in about a 1 month period. And now a lot of people have a bunch of NFTs from a lot of random people that have no value, that they're just like, oh, what do I do with this? It's a random guy that made an account. I have no idea what this is and I own it. At least people that own our NFTs, like we're going to be doing airdrops. We got all kinds of stuff we're going to be doing with our NFTs. And I think if you can't have that long-term vision to say, if we're going to get into NFTs is not to take advantage of a hype. It's because we actually think that it's the future and we're willing to put in the work now for what might come 2.5 years down the road. I think that's really the perspective a lot of people have to have.
It could be a huge shift because as he's saying, the artists or the people who can create the universes, the artists are actually going to be the ones that capture the value.
Yeah.
Huge amounts.
There's also
of value.
like the idea of using NFTs in games, like for the game that Anarchy X did, which I'm CMO, I'm not going to shill, but we had the idea of like, what are NFTs used for? So we built NFTs as a part of farming. If you have, certain NFTs, you play in a game with other people, it's esports, it's fun, but it's all based off of APY and farming. And, if you get certain, your gacha packs, like you play in the other game, and you get certain high level gacha pack cards, then you can use those to actually access a higher APY for that 1 week, and then next week you get a new gacha pack and start all over again. And then with that, we had a collectible line that goes along with it. But then it's more than just like one time, one game. It's like we're gonna have a whole gaming studio, so people can create their own games, bring them to the platform, and then continue giving them a derived base value, which I don't think a lot of people did. And if you just go on Raribles and buy cool art, it's like you own art. It's great. You can do music as well. You can do lots of stuff, which you can lock in that value. So it does have some value, but I think that like we'll see the true NFTs like with the Bondleys and with Digicoil, and we're seeing that with what's it called, Economy, where they have all these big name producers like Paramount and Batman, and I think those will be really cool because there's always been a collector's item, physical collector's item space. I think this will turn into a digital collector's item space. And I think that'll start maybe in the start of next year. We should have maybe like an NFT run. So that'll be a very interesting thing to come up and start seeing. So,
nice comic book you got here.
Thank you.
Boy.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a store of value.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's a store.
A story of value.
Art is a store of value, right?
So, hold on. So all this was made using Rarible.
Well, they were minted on Rarible. We're actually looking at we think we're pausing the comic book for right now because we're working on our own NFT platform, or maybe branching out to some different ones for other parts of the comic book. So, and then if anybody gets all the pages of the comic book, we're going to send them a legit paper, a physical copy as well. So we're going to be putting that together. So yeah, it's a cool story. We like it. We think it's going to be good.
I think you changed my mind on NFTs. I mean, so you have 6 figures in trading volume and NFTs for the BitBoy NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I think I should look into this.
Well, think about like Tops.
I mean,
Tops is
money
coming out with their
talks.
own NFTs, right? You were a kid, you probably collected cards from your favorite sports athletes and stuff. And those were valuable because you can get rare
Pokemon cards.
Pokemon cards are worth money too. Like, so are Magic cards, all that stuff. So it's just making a digital version of that. But there's so much more that can be done. It's just people haven't explored all the use cases just yet. But there's very large name. You go look at Connie and you look at who's behind them, all the different major licensing that
How's
they've
that spelled?
Which one?
Connie?
Ikani. Yeah, Ikani, the NFTs. They have like Paramount, Batman.
Ikami. Okay, yeah.
Like the gaming company.
Yeah. So you know, like this is the stuff that I'm looking at going, well, these are going to potentially have some really valuable, assets on them potentially. You don't know, maybe they'll be worth nothing, but it's something definitely to explore. I think there'll be a wave of that. Like there was a wave of DeFi. And a lot of people are mixing those two together, where you got the DeFi and you got the NFTs, and they're kind of mixing them together. I think there'll be a lot of value once people get more creative with it and see how they can do it. It's all about just finding use cases that actually make any sense.
Well,
there's a lot of them that won't make sense, like Crypto Finally. No offense to her, she put on just some pictures of herself, and people were buying them for 10 ETH, and I was like, all right, well, hell, man, like if you can do it,
people put pictures of her up there, but other people put pictures of her up there, and we're making money off of it, and I think that's why.
Exactly.
That's why she got into it, which I don't blame her for.
No, I don't blame her at all. I think it's great. If I put a bunch of pictures of myself as a cartoon character and people are gonna pay me 10 ETH for it, why wouldn't I do that? I mean, it seems kind of silly not to, right? Even though like it is kind of silly if I would do that. If someone was willing to pay me for it, I would do it. Why not? But I think
I think the thing to look at here is there's like if we just take a step back and we use some common sense here, okay? And we think about like all of a sudden there was this huge hype, there was this huge push like for art, for digital art. Like there's a reason there's a stereotype of poor starving artists out there, Like it's not like all of a sudden overnight like art is going to become this thing that just anybody that wants to make $1 million can just start making digital art and make money. Like there's no value other than like art being aesthetically pleasing. Like and the rarity combined with that, like that's all that art, so to speak, is, right? And I think what you're talking about having functionality built in, whether it's farming or other DeFi purposes, or there's actually like a larger purpose, like the comic book we're doing, like you want to get all the pages, like there's got to be an incentive for people to keep buying them. And I think that this is something that is going to be big, but it's not going to be big because like all of these people that went to art school and became like artists are just going to be popping up everywhere making millions of dollars. Like that's not a common sense.
And it's also big because of what you've done with your channel. Like you could have created the same thing, and if you didn't have the platform that you have with your channel, nobody would buy it.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
people value what he's done. And if you provided value to other people, they'll value what you do a lot more, right? So, and I mean that's for what you do when you spend your life making content for basically for free. Or not only for free, but when you start out, that's what you're doing, right? So you're adding value to an ecosystem, and people value that.
Well, if people want to look for someone to blame for my channel's explosion and my head that has gotten so big that it barely fits on the screen here, you guys can blame Randall. It was his fault. He was the first person that did a video with me, so thanks, Randall.
Well, you were enthusiastic, man. You were enthusiastic. And you could tell you were in it to win it. You weren't in it for the money, even though that kind of helped. But you were in it because you were really enthusiastic about crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I was
speaking
in
of
I was in
money,
for your bald head and your random story from Florida. that you
so
told me
just
about,
a
like,
quick reminder, we're giving away $1,000 for those who just joined. $1,000 to the best pick, but you have to tag the project on Twitter. So tag Tokenmetrics Inc. Tag the project. Use the hashtag Tokenmetrics, and whoever picks a top 100 market cap project that has the best ROI by the next live stream, basically in 1 week, you'll win a free account and $1,000. All right. Um, anything you guys want to cover? We haven't touched on yet.
What are your favorite altcoins that maybe aren't top level alt? Because this is what I get asked a lot. So I think it's something that people would value from all of us in here. What do you like other than Bitcoin or majors that you think have a really, a really big opportunity to get into or to research that are coming out? Go ahead, Crypto Love.
Oh,
Let's
that
see
are
it.
coming out, like ones that don't exist yet.
Exist or
They're
that are almost
coming out.
that are coming.
They
Yeah,
I
want
it
want the
doesn't matter.
world to know.
This is what everyone asks me. Like all of us ask our own guys, like, what? Tell us about. We even say it. Tell us about some new projects that
Okay.
maybe we don't even know.
Okay, this one's
So,
already
let's talk
out.
about what we like.
This one's already out, but I think it is well underrated in that, in my mind, it should be a top 10 altcoin, is Celsius. They have a very strong community. They have a fixed supply. They have an amazing use case, giving you interest on your crypto. The founder of Celsius, Alex Mashinsky, he's a triple unicorn. He has $3 billion companies, same as Elon Musk. He's in the Elon Musk club. And he created voice over IP. He did one other thing, and Celsius. And I think because of that, I mean, and their tokens used in the ecosystem. So you either get your interest in sell, or if you take out a loan, you have to pay the interest in sell. And so I think because of that, the fixed supply of the community, I think that one could definitely go up because their user base is just growing. Right now it's 200,000 people. It's growing and growing and growing, and that could be huge.
There's a segue here. So, have you heard of Yield App?
Yield
Have you heard?
app?
Okay, it's called Yield App. These
It's a
guys are
DeFi
doing
right?
very similar things to Celsius, but they're running it like a DeFi fund. And so a lot of people don't know how to, get involved in farming or anything DeFi or it's too
Buy a John
expensive
Deere.
for Ethereum. So they actually made a fund which does something exactly very similar models to Celsius, where you lock up. This is brand new. I just did a video on this today. You lock up your USDT and you lock up your yields, and you get paid out a guarantee of 10% plus 2% in yield. And if you hold yield, you get up to 20% per year. So it's even better than Celsius in some ways because the people behind it are no small names. They got David Johnson. They've got Tim Frost. He was involved with Equibank, and he was also involved with Paxful, building them up, and WireX. So like they have some real names around the platform. And Justin that they brought in as the other co-founder, he's from the traditional market. These guys are really building something similar to Celsius. If you're looking at Celsius and going, wow, that's done 85x or something from the bottom, this is just out like this week it came out.
Yeah.
It came out with Trust Swap, which a lot of us know, Jeff, right? They did it on Trust Swap. And I think there's some really, really good stuff that's going to come from that. And it's early stage. So like if you love Celsius, which I also love Celsius and Nexo, Yield App might be one that if you've never heard of it yet, might be a good one to look at. It's a very similar model.
I would say as far as Celsius goes, look, I love Alex. I like Celsius. I've been bullish on Celsius since the first time I ever heard him talk, which was July of 2018. The one thing I would say is for Celsius to be a coin that outperforms the market drastically, it's going to have to do something that few coins have ever done, which is already outperform the market drastically and then do it again. So that's the one thing I would say about Celsius. I like Celsius. I like a lot of stuff they do. For them to, outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum, considering it's drastically outperformed it in 2020, that's going to truly make it a unicorn coin, but not a Uniswap. And I would say, like, I've got, several projects that I'm working with, some that I haven't even done videos on yet or talked with. I mean, projects I'm advisors for, or I'm an advisor for. Obviously, YFDI, Ferrum Network, like we talked about at the beginning, very bullish on Ferrum Network. They're working with a company called Plasma Pay, which is another one that I'm very bullish on. And then also Smart Key, I mean, a lot of people have been making comments about it in the channel. These are projects that are doing like real things. These are projects that are not like fly by night and things like that. So those are 4 that I'm looking at. But this is what I want to say, and this is not directed towards any coin that I'm working with, any coin I've worked with in the past. It's just there have been a lot of coins that I've talked about on my channel that have 10x'd. And you know what happens after a project 10x is it usually comes back to reality. I think when you guys are looking at altcoin strategies, you really do like almost no matter how much you believe in anything, like you have to make smart money decisions for yourself. So when it comes to these coins that may or may not explode, Zero Chain is another one that I'm looking at. You guys might want to be paying attention to. Don't come at me or come at anybody that you invest in a coin and it goes up 10x and then it goes back to its original value and you say, oh well, you should have made a smarter decision. You should have like taken some profits along the way. I understand believing long-term in projects for sure. I mean, there's, like I believe long-term, pretty much like long-term, we're talking about years and years and years. I mean, it's a very small select group. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I don't know after that, like I don't know after that what is the true long-term plays, Chainlink probably in that group. Okay.
Gotta add helium. People
Helium.
are sleeping on helium.
You love helium. Well, if you're sleeping on helium, you're probably dreaming with a high-pitched voice. Okay. But in all seriousness,
all in on helium.
yeah, you guys got to make smart decisions for yourselves. And
Yeah,
don't
when's
ride
the
a coin all the
BitBoy
way up and
stand-up
ride all
NFT coming?
well, oh no! Oh god! I'm back. I'm sorry, guys. Am I back? Can y'all hear me again?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Mr. Clear.
That was terrible. My stand-up act consists of me pulling my microphone out of my thing. And then one my graphic designer who works in house with me, he made the bad mistake of telling the guy that's my CEO, like in front of him, saying that I should do stand-up comedy. So now we do a lot of stand-up routines. So don't let that go to my head too. I'll dominate comedy YouTube. Okay.
Now, one coin I do like that our team looked into, that's low cap, which is in a way kind of our moonshot pick, is P Network, PNT. So they're doing cross-chain DeFi and very low cap. Code is good, super risky as hell. Not financial advice, but if we were to get in on a low cap gem, we think that has the potential to possibly do that. Bill, any picks on your end?
I have a lot of people asking me about, I want to call it KP3R. Is that correct?
Keeper?
Oh, Keeper?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hacker speak.
It's what?
It's Bungie.
Hacker speak. Oh, Keeper?
Yeah, it's got a really interesting chart, but I will defer on the Tokenmetrics firm pick to Ian.
Isn't Andre Cronje in that one? In that one?
Yes, yeah. That's
Anything he
Andre's
touches
project.
just goes up, right?
He's just making so many new projects. I mean,
Oh
I'm
wait,
so
can we
pissed off I
pause
switched
for a
on
second, Ian? Can we pause for a second? Can we talk
Yeah.
about something really important right now?
Absolutely.
I got an email from Tokenmetrics this week, and it had the top 3 crypto YouTubers of 2020 on it. It included Data Dash, Ivan, and some guy I've never heard of. And I just want you to know, like, from the bottom of my heart, I was seriously, like, really wounded and offended by this.
So I'll explain.
Yeah, thank you, because I need some explanations here, Ian.
So that was a community vote.
Oh, I hate Tokenmetrics community. I hate you.
And this was done in January this year.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
so-
Well, then I understand because I only had 12,000
Yeah.
subscribers back then.
Yeah. So I mean, so props to you. You've blown the hell up.
It's thanks
So-
to Tokenmetrics. Listen, seriously, part of one reason why I got a lot of credibility this year was I was using those Tokenmetrics picks for my picks of the month, and they blew up all year. Like my people made so much money from those Tokenmetrics picks all throughout 2020. I mean, up until DeFi bubble kind of popped there for a little bit. I mean, we were like 7 months in a row of like at least 200% gains, having one triple-digit winner like every month. So yeah, okay. Well, I accept your apology. I didn't hear an apology, but I do accept it. I want you to know.
Well, I mean, then next year you'll
Next year.
definitely be on the list, and I'm pretty sure
Thank you.
because you're one of our biggest affiliates, crypto family members, YouTubers. So I'm pretty sure most of our community now is from you.
They might like the fact that I confront on air. Maybe they like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
All right, guys. Well,
I mean, I
fun
don't know if
times.
like you guys are looking at some newer projects that are out, like Coin. They're doing some really cool stuff with their wallet. You'll be able to talk to your computer and say like, I'm gonna send BitBoy $5 of ETH, and it will literally ask you if you want to, and you'll say yes, and it will send you money. So that's a pretty cool wallet that's coming out. Also, if you go on
Cool.
Google, you type in on the browser like exchange, and it will ask you, do you want to exchange money? Like it's pretty intuitive stuff. So I was talking to Damon Nem, their CEO, the other day, and I was just like, wow, this is a pretty interesting project. If you love like Uniswap and DeFi, he's very big on it, and then they have their own exchange, something very interesting to look at. You got the Sci-Fi with their own kind of like DeFi fund, which is coming out with all your favorite DeFi picks, and they rebalance them and stuff. So I'm looking at these new projects as opportunities, because we talk about, okay, what's the thing that's going to make you the highest amount of gains? I mean, if any of you guys were in Bondly finance and any of you were in Bondly,
yeah.
I mean, 14, 15x, it's just like, these are the types of things that, yeah, you should definitely take profit and take your money out, but then you have free rolls. And I think a lot of people in crypto, that's what they made yeah, don't make the mistake. I would say this is really good, like non-financial, but just like overall advice is like, if you're going to go into a project and you're going to invest your money and it goes up a crazy amount, and you got like 50% or 70% coming over the next few months to you, and you can, sell it so you have your money back, you should do that. It's not a bad idea. Even if you really believe in it, if you put in 5,000, you can take your 5,000 back out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And as long as you're not market selling on the order books, take your profit out, because then it's free roll. I probably have like 14 or 15 projects right now where I'm in that position, and every month it's like a paycheck, and you're like, sweet, I can either hold it because I believe in the project, or I can, sell it. So you give yourself an opportunity like that, and then you can kind of like sit back and relax a little bit. And I think like as a trader, it's great. It's like a supplemental income almost. I mean, almost every day of the month I get an allocation. So these are opportunities that can be there. And obviously, the reason why I say take your capital out, because cash is king, and if the market turns against you, you don't want to end up with bags like you did in 20.
I wouldn't say cash is king anymore.
Okay, Bitcoin's, you know what I mean. Bitcoin's king. I stack Bitcoin and ETH 90%. The cash that I use is so I can live and my kids can go to school.
That cash is king thing is very interesting, because there's this idea that like if you go to buy something from Craigslist and you show up and you're like, oh yeah, but I got cash, that like people are going to give you a better deal or like whatever. Like that's really, in my opinion, like kind of archaic. Like that's not a real thing anymore. Like now,
if you live in Thailand,
I got Cash App, I got Venmo, I got whatever. Like everybody has money all the time that you can spend. It's not like, I only have this cash right here. I'm just talking about like that kind of old school, like negotiating, like Craigslist kind of mentality. We're moving to an all digital world, and everything's going to be done digitally. But I think that, I do think you're right on. I mean, you do have to take some money. Like don't get any of this twisted. Like by the time the crypto markets collapse, I think this is an interesting question we should probably get to, which is, I'm a strong believer that September 28th, 2021 is the peak of the Bitcoin bull run. And that's my plan to cash out is probably before that.
I said October 2021.
October 2021 is end of all coin markets because they usually go a month after.
Huh.
But September 28th, 2021, that's the day. I mean, that's 504 days from the halving, which is basically when it should happen. But what do you guys think? Like what I was gonna say is, don't get me wrong. Like, trust me, I'm cashing out at some point, and then I'm gonna short the out of it all the way down. Like I wish I would have done the last bear market.
I don't think it's going to go down as far this time.
I don't think it is either.
Because we have a bunch of hodlers this time. Like the institutions are gigantic hodlers.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't care if the price goes down institutions either. So
I'm thinking it's sell in May and go away. In other words,
sell in May and go away.
All the equity market seasonals, like right now we're in the Santa rally, right? Never fade the Santa rally. Then there's the January effect, right? Whatever happens the first week in January has implications for the rest of the year, right? And then the next big one where you got to watch out for the corrections is sell in May and go away. And, the way corrections work in equities that scare people to death, I mean, not so much in crypto, right? But, it's probably 30, 40% in one day. and then it resets itself, and then it goes back up again.
Now,
Yeah, I
if we
wouldn't
go back
surprise
and
me.
look at the
Like
last
everybody wants to
halvings-
buy the dip in Bitcoin, and I'm like, no, you don't. If there's a dip, a real dip in Bitcoin, you won't want to buy it.
Right.
So if we go back and look
Whoa.
at all the last halvings, every bull run lasts longer, but the ROI is not as big. But I think this time around that could be different, where the ROI is massive and it lasts longer.
Well, the market's
Well,
also
for it to-
getting big.
Go ahead.
What'd you say?
No, the market's also getting bigger. If you're, you know,
Yeah.
I had this conversation with one of my friends from Duck, like one of the owners of DuckDAO today, because we've been buddies for years, and we was talking about, like, he's like, yeah, this is so crazy, and I was like, dude, you know what the crazy thing is? Microsoft is 3 times bigger a market cap than the whole entire crypto market, period.
Right.
And he was like,
Snapchat is
"Holy
worth
shit."
more than ETH.
Yes, Snapchat is worth more
Snapchat.
than, like,
I go on these
guys,
TV shows, and I'm like,
so
Chainlink's
early.
$5 billion.
Yeah, but you
so
can't
early,
you can't
like, people
eat
don't
dick
get
pics
losses
to your
his teeth
friends.
with $5 billion.
Yeah. Like,
Sorry.
we're so early. All you guys watch these things and you think, oh my God, these guys are doing so well. Like, you have no idea what's about to
idea.
come.
No clue.
You have no idea. Even us, I saw BitBoy, I saw you say something like, we've been waiting for this for 2 years, and I can't, even when I'm seeing the market do this, I'm even like, wow.
Yeah.
We're all like, wow. And the thing is,
Mhm.
it's just the start of this. For like the next 10 years, this is gonna keep happening, but we're gonna go through cycles. So just
Yep.
be prepared, and, you know, get ready to have a huge shift. If you're in crypto now, be ready to be one of the people that shift from, you know, the wealth, you know, going from all these huge rich guys to being able to be one of them, you know, and you're gonna be rich not with cash. You're gonna be rich with Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, with Polkadot, all these big projects. You're gonna be very wealthy with those, and that's gonna be what you're gonna use in the future to buy your house and your car. I tell people this all the time. Bitcoin is not going to be used to buy a coffee. That's what
No.
XRP will be used for. Bitcoin's going to be when I want to buy a new house, here's a Bitcoin. Here's 2 Bitcoin, whatever it is. Or I want to buy a Lamborghini, or I want to buy just a regular car, I'll buy it with Bitcoin because it's worth a lot. And
Buy
it's
American,
much
get a
easier.
Hellcat. Sorry.
I think we
because
may
while you're going
actually
through all
in
the
this
documents to
cycle.
do all that stuff, the Bitcoin will take 30 minutes to transact. Who gives a crap? It's going to take longer to do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
I think in this cycle or the next cycle with Bitcoin, we may see even greater Bitcoin returns because neither of the past halvings had a huge printing of money. Like, because we track Bitcoin returns versus US dollars, like, first we have the effect from the
Yes.
halving, the diminishing supply, but then also this time we have the effect from insane devaluation of the currency, the US dollar.
I think that's why we're looking at, like, look, guys, if anybody watching my channel, they know when I make predictions, I stand by them. I do not change them based on fluctuations of this or that. So I have made a prediction of 225K Bitcoin. I made it at the beginning of last year, and I'm sticking out. So I'm sticking with that. That is my whatever. However, I do feel pressure to change it. Like, if I was a person that changed it, I would be changing it because of exactly what Randall is talking about, which is we've never seen what we're seeing right now with the money printing. So when we look at the last big, I'm so big. If someone who's watching this is not watching my channel, I'm so big on believing in the power of the Bitcoin cycles. And so I look a lot at the history of the previous Bitcoin cycles to determine what's going to happen in the future. I don't get caught up on the charts. I don't care what the weekly chart looks like over the last 6 weeks. Like, I don't care. I look at where we should be based on the cycles. Okay. And so, you know, for Bitcoin for this bull market to last longer than September 28th, that means that it would have to do something, well, for it to last a month longer, 2 months longer, 3 months longer, a year longer, like a 2.5 year bull run or whatever, it would have to do something different than it's always done before. Now, at some point, Bitcoin will do something different than it's ever done before. I don't know what that will be. Maybe when it hits $1 million and it stabilizes, when like one Satoshi is worth about a penny now or whatever, that could be the case. But until Bitcoin does something different, I'm going to keep going with history. And so when we look back at the history of the last bull market, the Bitcoin all-time high was 1121. That was the number it had to hit. When it finally passed over 1121 and it went up, when it hit 20,000, that was 17.8x its previous all-time high. And we've seen that the volatility has actually already over the first 3 cycles has lessened a little bit each cycle, right? So like if we were to say it lessens just a little bit and it goes up 15x, okay, well now we're talking about a $300,000 Bitcoin, which lines up exactly with what the stock flow chart says, what the Citibank, what the Citi report said, what a lot of people are saying around $300,000 Bitcoin. However, it would not take much. The really interesting thing, if you guys study the stock to flow chart, if you guys have looked at the stock to flow chart, it is not like incremental, like 5 is here, 10 is here, 15 is here, 20 is here. It's like 0 is here. I'm trying to show this. 0 is here. 1,000 is here. 10,000 is here. 100,000 is here.
It's a logarithmic scale.
It's a logarithmic scale. Thank you. Exactly. So what you're seeing is that if Bitcoin just goes slightly above where it's estimated to be on the chart, on the stock flow chart, it could easily get to $500,000. It's not a huge jump. And when you combine the money printing and the devaluation of the US dollar and say, if it just had 17.x, if it just did what it did last time, it would be $360,000. With the money printing combined, I think we are potentially looking at the most bullish case ever for Bitcoin in this bull run. I could see Bitcoin hitting $400,000 to $500,000 in this bull cycle.
Anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to make predictions, though.
Well,
You know.
okay, so
No, it's really not though. It's really not though.
Okay, so
Well,
I
not
just
hard.
did this
There's
video.
history.
I just did this
Yeah,
this
but
video.
it's
the
hard
other-
to say
Bitcoin
like
prediction is
exactly.
400K.
We don't know.
And what
don't
time
really
frame
know.
you said? September? Ben?
September 28th. So that's based on what's called the golden bull cycle ratio, which is the number of weeks between the low of the market and the halving, and the all-time high, or and the top of the bull
It's
market.
the 49-51 ratio.
Yes, it's symmetrical.
Yeah.
So if you we already knew the amount of days that we had from the bottom of the market to the halving. So you take that symmetrical, you take a ratio and you say that's 49%. What's the 51% of that? And you come up with September 28th. That's 504 days from the halving. And so that's generally what we should have. Once again, if it goes outside of that range, give or take a week on either end, it will do something different than it's ever done.
Yeah, you
before.
can see a trading shot chart of that on
Yes,
TradingView.
that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Trading shot.
Right.
Mhm.
We love it. We love it.
No, the question is,
Go
guys,
big
when
or
do
go
you
home.
think
Right?
the real alt season starts? Because this has been a thing that I think
2 weeks
everyone's
after
been talking
Bitcoin
May.
peaks. I think that's when
about.
it
Say it again.
when it's. I think after Bitcoin peaks, 2 weeks later we have the height of the altcoin market.
That's not what we saw before, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it
what
is.
we've seen in the past.
It's kind of been
Yeah.
alt season now, just kind of the
There's
early
an
season.
overlap.
Ish.
Altcoin
When
season
Bitcoin
started in
went
November.
sideways around 18K.
Yeah.
Alts began to rally.
Yep.
Now as Bitcoin is going up, alts have also been going up.
Well,
So
last time
honestly,
what happened,
Not against
Bitcoin went up,
BTC, though.
and then ETH went up, Litecoin went up, and then all the other alts went up.
That's no.
Yeah.
But that's not actually.
That's
That's when they
changed.
peaked. That's when they peaked. But if you really go back and look at the altcoin cycle from last time, it really started in the beginning of November. The beginning of November, Bitcoin was not yet. I think Bitcoin was around 12, 13, 14,000 at that point, possibly. I can't remember exactly where it was. But the beginning of November is when Cardano, when Neo, when XRP, when a lot of these started to really, really go up. And I know because I had just gotten in a bunch of them and the price started shooting up. Then Bitcoin hit its all-time high. And then over the next month or about 3.5 weeks, that's when they peaked. But altcoin season
Right.
really started when Bitcoin was around about 12,
But here's the
$13,000.
thing: if you buy them too early, so there's a month
Yeah.
between both peaks. If you buy
Yeah.
it before that 2 weeks after the Bitcoin peak, you're actually losing in Bitcoin comparative.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Against
Hmm.
BTC, I want to see an alt season because for me, Bitcoin alt pairs are what actually tell me it's alt season. If I see all the alts, like even
Absolutely.
Ren, all these great
Yeah.
alts that had huge moves, like we had like a mini alt season before Bitcoin
Yeah.
moved. I would agree with that. But I mean like the real alt season where we see alt pairs outperform Bitcoin at the levels that they did the last cycle. So that's what a lot of people ask me. I think that's coming up, but it's not here yet. I think.
I think it's not till the summer,
But
honestly.
That part is true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not here yet.
What did you say?
I think it's not going to come until the summer. I mean, I think
too.
May is kind of when we're going to see Bitcoin do some real fireworks. And I think that, sometime over the summer, we're going to, we just saw it over the summer this time. So we've got some,
Yep.
timing precedent for that. And I mean, that may not be that important, but
Dude,
that's what I think. But I think we will see, intermediate altcoin seasons, kind of like we've just had some, when you look at what XRP did and Stellar did, you have some movement of altcoins, but you're right. I think though, there is kind of a misconception. Like like if you have a big portfolio, like if you have a lot of money, like if you have, I mean, 6 figures may not be a lot of money to some people, but I think if you have 6 figures in crypto, like you've got a really big portfolio right now, like going into what we're about to hit, you can't look at it all the time like, well, am I outperforming Bitcoin? You know, I think that you're going to have some bags you just accumulate that you sit that you've got those for when it, when it does truly pop off, and you've got your Bitcoin bag as well. And then there may be strategic times where you say, okay, for right now this season, I'm going to take a lot of Bitcoin or all my Bitcoin, whatever it is. Like I just did. I traded all my Ethereum for Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit $24,000 or 23.5. That was my plan. I traded all back to Ethereum, and now Bitcoin's still outperforming that a little bit, but I think over the next, month or so, I think Ethereum's gonna have a good run up. So there are certain points where you make some big strategic moves, some huge trades, but outside of that, like accumulate some alts. You know what I'm saying? Just accumulate some, like put some in your portfolio, and then when they do run, you'll get that reward. You can't. When people try to move all of their crypto back and forth too much, that's the number one way people lose, especially with retail investors.
And chasing gains.
Absolutely.
Like when something's super popular, buying it then, becoming a fanboy.
I think you're going to see sector rotations like equities.
Too. Sorry, go ahead.
In other words,
we've seen that,
like,
Bill, for sure. I agree.
It'll be like, okay, this will be Bitcoin week, and then it'll be now we're in like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Synthetics week, right? And then there'll be Yearn, Aave, DeFi, and then DGen, right? So because the institutions are getting involved, right? You're going to start seeing the stuff you saw in equities start being reflected in crypto. Crypto will be broken up into sectors by the end of 2021, not just the market cap chart.
So speaking of gains, have you guys heard of Graph? The Graph?
Yes.
They just listed.
We were talking about this on Crypto Banter the other day. It was 23 cents. This is like three days ago.
Yeah, this
it's
like has blown up.
It's just blowing up, man.
Done what, like a 30x?
I think this is a perfect example of what we're going to see.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example of what we're going to see. We're going to see coins that come out like this. Can't remember what it was a few weeks ago, but I know my brother, I've got him, he's interested. He's bought Ethereum, he's bought Bitcoin, and like, he was like, man, I wish I would have bought Dash or whatever it was that day that was pumping on Coinbase that went up like 70%. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't Dash, whatever it was. I think this is what we're going to see. Like Bill said, we're going to see this, rotation of niches, rotation of sectors, rotation of coins. That's why I think it's really good now for people to be looking at a lot of the coins we mentioned earlier in the stream that are kind of newer.
Now this project, I think, is right now it might be too overvalued because it's almost $1 billion market cap. It's entering top 30 because we did look into this to all our customers. We did cover the code review on this, I think, back in August, and this was pretty much a solid project. But even we didn't expect this project to just pump like this straight out the gate, launching on Coinbase, on Binance, pretty much every big exchange on the first day. Yeah. So they definitely had some insiders somewhere.
Yeah, how great would that be to have the inside track to Coinbase, what they're going to list?
Well,
because Coinbase added them first before Binance. That's when they had a super inside track.
Anything that goes on Coinbase when you're in a bull season, you should. I mean, this is just a bad. It's not really a good strategy, but you should. I buy it basically. Like you should do whatever you want, but I buy them. If I see something's going on like DNT and CVC and all these coins. I saw they're going on Binance and it was like, all right, just buy it. Yep. I'm just going to buy it, put 1% risk and see what happens. And they go and do like 200, 300, 500%. And you're like sitting there going, well, that was an easy buy. And I just keep moving my stop up. Like, this is the stuff, like it gives instant validation. And who can buy when it goes on Coinbase? All the people in the US. They're already banned from Binance, Hobby. So, who's got the most money? People in the US. Follow the money. That's all you got to do.
Well, the ironic thing is, a lot of people point back at Coinbase actually started the bear market too, because they, the exact opposite, they announced that they were not putting more coins on anytime soon. And that tweet, if you go back and look at the exact top of the market for altcoins, it was with XRP. XRP was the altcoin season last year or last cycle, I mean. And Brian Armstrong, everybody, the rumor was it was going on Coinbase. The price had gone up to like $3.20. It was getting ready to run. They just announced a Western Union partnership or whatever it was. And then Brian Armstrong tweeted out, I think it was on January 8th, something like that. Coinbase has not made any decisions on adding any assets anytime soon. And you watch what happened after that tweet. Everything dropped, and then that was the end of the bull market. I remember. I saw the tweet. I had a lot of XRP.
Spoiling the party.
What's that?
Coinbase.
Right now they're going to
sold
do
party.
just the opposite.
Yeah, I know.
What once they go public, they're gonna have to beat everyone to market.
What is what is
Because
that?
now they're competing. Now they're competing with PayPal, Square, Sailor. Like they have to get relevant. They got to get a debit card attached to the account, right? So Coinbase, in order to justify the likely stratospheric valuation that they'll come out at,
Mhm.
they're going to have to offer American investors access to the altcoin casino.
Yeah.
So
What does that do for the crypto markets when they launch their IPO?
Exposure. It makes
Right.
crypto
Just
legit.
it makes the
official,
media. It makes
yeah,
the media
validation.
cover it.
Yeah.
Right.
it's
Like the
instant
media is not
validation that
covering
these are
Bitcoin.
real.
It's pretty much a crypto success story, right? So
Yeah.
crypto isn't
Yeah.
really seen as Silk Road, the dark web,
Yeah.
offshore taxes, what have you. Now crypto is legit in the eyes of Wall Street.
Right.
Trying to
Like
pull up
we
the
talk to
valuation for
reporters. The
Coinbase.
reporters get it. The reporters understand the crypto stories, but they're having trouble selling it to their editors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because they either don't want to cover it or don't understand it. Once Coinbase becomes public, right, they're gonna have to understand it.
Well, we know how those narratives are controlled by the fake news. We know.
Michael is
Right.
helping all of us by telling, Elon Musk in public forums that Elon said, well, how could you get all this money into it? And he's like, I bought $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. It was in the same tweet that actually Ian pulled up later on like a little bit further down that tweet. He actually says like, well, I can't put that much money into Bitcoin. He says, actually you can. I bought $1.3 billion. So Michael's become this like big time cheerleader for crypto. And I think that's making real institutions like look into it and say, well, this is something real. And so you can see right there, I purchased $1.3 billion in the past few months. Happy to share my playbook with you offline.
Yeah.
One rocket scientist to another. I mean, this is instant like validation where hedge funds are starting to look into it. I'm working with a project called Finex Flow, and they're traditional market guys, and they want to come and enter crypto and fix the whole problem of like wash trading and all these like the problems of liquidity. And they're like, yeah, Joel, like the problem is there's no liquidity in the crypto market. No one understands it. But now all these guys are hitting up to my buddy James, and they're saying, hey, we want to get involved in this space. This space looks really interesting. It looks really, really like valid. It's not a scam like you guys all thought it was before. And they're starting to be kind of curious. Problem with them is there's not enough liquidity, right?
Mhm.
So if we solve the liquidity problem, the guys like Questrade and DBS Bank, they actually want to be a part of this ecosystem. And the reason why they want to be a part of it is because they can provide that type of liquidity, but they need like avenues to do it that are legit. And right now, the problem with the exchanges is a lot of them are kind of shady. And when I say kinda, I mean really.
No, that is not true. That is a lie.
We need regulations. I think like I've been
Use
saying this for a few years.
bitswapdex.io. Thank you.
Yeah, I love DEXs and the idea, but you're not going to get a $100 million fund to trade on a DEX, really, maybe, but very rarely is that ever going to happen. I think with regulated entities, they want other regulated entities. So if you give
Absolutely.
regulated entities like Questrade another regulated entity to go and trade on, IPOs help for sure as well. You can start building those bridges, which then give DeFi and Bitcoin and all these actual liquidity so you can trade. Because these guys trade like $100 million a day. They're doing, intraday trading. You can't do that in crypto. It's just there's not the ability to do it. You can't do it yet. Once we build that, once that comes, that's why I'm talking about Microsoft is 3 times as big as the whole market. Once the market is trillions of dollars, this thing is going to fly. It's just a matter of time. It's not a like if, it's a when. And
It's so exciting.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're saying the bigger it gets, the higher it can go.
The bigger
It's so
the base,
exciting.
The higher into space, right, Bill?
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Literally,
Very.
right.
It's so exciting that we're like leading the new age of money. It's like so exciting to be part of this and just thinking about the prospects of where all this is going to go. And like, we just have the opportunity to talk about this every day. So I was on the phone with a guy who manages billions of dollars. Now it's a real weird story how I ended up on the phone with this guy, but actually had nothing to do with crypto, but then he wanted to know about what I was doing in crypto. So I ended up talking to him about it. And the interesting thing was, I think I always had this perspective that these people didn't want part of crypto because of like Silk Road and because it was like, the criminals use it. He said that's not the case at all. Like basically all of these people, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, when this was all still, pretty much brand new and developing, all these bigger funds, like they thought that this was just some crazy hippie libertarian way for people to hide money from the governments. Like that's what they thought. They thought it was all about taxes and like trying to hide money. And now like they're slowly all starting to realize like, wait a second, this is like legit now. And it's not that anymore. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss is the changing narrative of Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin started as peer-to-peer electronic currency. It is not that at all anymore. You can still trade it peer-to-peer, but we all know that it is digital gold. That is what it is. It is a hedge of value. That's why like, hey, if I had like, 7 gold bars, I might could trade you that for a house, but I'm not going to use that as daily currency, And I think, this narrative of what Bitcoin started as and what it is now is like totally different. And now you have these institutions and these corporations that are really shaping the narrative of what it is. I mean, I just can't say enough how much PayPal getting into crypto has changed the respect level of it everywhere. Like, is it good for crypto custody? Like, is it good for you to tell people to like buy Bitcoin on PayPal so they can save their lives if there's an apocalypse? No, because you can't withdraw it. It's just sitting there. You can't do anything with it. But was it good for the respect level of cryptocurrency and what people think of it? Like, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
And over the next year, like people are going to wake up, and it's just amazing how much. Like I went, I got a storage unit for some, extra stuff we have at my house, and I was talking to the guy that worked at the storage unit, which if you've ever rented a storage unit, guys that work at storage units are insane. I'll just say that. They're really crazy. They'll talk your ear off and they always have really slow moving computers. And I'm just like, I wish y'all would get a Mac, But so I'm in there for 30 minutes waiting for this computer to update all my information. I'm talking to this guy and he's like, yeah, I'm here working here. I've been a manager here for like 6 months. I got laid off because of the pandemic. I was working in finance. And I said, have you heard about decentralized finance? This was when decentralized finance was popping off. It was like back in August. And he was like, no, I haven't. And I'm just like, I went to the bank and I did some stuff at the bank, which I'm getting more and more reports from people I know talking about how much of control of their money the bank is. They're not able to send money where they want. They're not able to put it on Coinbase. They're not able to send it out for OTC trades on, you have to lie and tell your bank, unless it's Wells Fargo or one of the major ones. They're a little more friendly. But you have to lie and say like you're using that money for gold, and they'll be like, oh, okay, no problem. But if they think it's crypto, they're not letting you transfer it out. I talked to a lady at the bank, and I was like, she said, what do you do? I rolled the dice. I said, well, I talk about Bitcoin for a living. And she's like, oh, that's cool. I said, yeah, I'm basically trying to take your job, but I'll put in a good word for you when Bitcoin, destroys your bank. These people are clueless. They have no idea that any of this is happening. People in finance don't know about decentralized finance. No. People that work at the banks, the managers of the banks have no idea what is coming, the rush that's coming to Bitcoin. I just think it's just so.
I think a lot of these insurance companies and guys who are buying Bitcoin, who are just like doing their own slow FOMO in, I don't think they know about decentralized finance. Mm-hmm. Like, again, that's going to be the game, right? How fast can you get DeFi people on staff at big institutions to start figuring out, oh, yes, I have Bitcoin and I'm getting X rate of return, right? They all compete against each other. Mm-hmm. And this whole monkey see, monkey do phenomenon that like, that's what takes Tesla and Zoom up, right? That's going to start, what interest rate what return can you get on Bitcoin?
Now, the thing with DeFi, though, I don't think it's really going to blow up and bring in institutions until there's more clarity around the regulation and compliance of DeFi.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Right? And I think that's probably going to happen sometime next year. I think we can all anticipate maybe first half of the year. The SEC, CFTC makes an example.
We don't know.
They got their hands tied with a pandemic, Ian. I don't know if they can do anything next year.
Well, how did you all start in crypto, right? You bought a Bitcoin, right? I mean, I did. I bought some Bitcoin, had no idea what the hell it did. And then all of a sudden you started making money and you're like, this is very interesting. What is it really? And then you look at it and then you start finding other kinds of crypto. You're like, oh, there's Ethereum. And now it does all these things. And there's XRP. And this is
wasn't no Ethereum around when I bought a Bitcoin first time.
So I think that's the really important part, though, is we need them, the institutions, to go and start with Bitcoin. and then them to realize like, oh, there's Ethereum, and oh, Ethereum has this thing called decentralized finance, and how does that work? And I think that will start the rabbit hole, and we might see decentralized finance shift a little bit because they're coming in, but that might be for the better for decentralized finance. We'll see. I don't know. It could be for worse.
All
All right, guys, I got to take off. So,
right. Well, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Are
see you
a
all later.
rocket ship?
Where can people find you?
Good to see y'all.
Want to do a quick
Where can
plug?
everyone find you?
Oh, yeah, you can find me on Crypto Love YouTube channel. Just
Crypto
type in
Love.
Crypto Love. One of the oldest crypto YouTube channels out there. Boom.
And one of the oldest crypto YouTubers.
I know, right?
I'm right there with you, though, bud.
Yeah. You should see
You
how
guys
low
can
my
all shut
balls
up.
hang. It's crazy.
Sorry.
Peace, everyone.
All right, see you, man.
All right, take care.
Later.
Okay.